That's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course, we will unpause and repause it just to make sure that it doesn't play. We've got a lot of news to talk about today. In fact, I had to bounce a lot of it because there were so many stories that were actually pertinent, I couldn't get to them all. We will be talking about Vermont and the snow response, by the way. I'm a little bit chuffed about that. Chuck Schumer needs to go. The Democrats are now engaging in a civil war for absolutely no reason over the shutdown mainly. Because, of course, Chuck Schumer voted against continuation, but with a wink and a nod, he told the other members of his party it's probably a good idea to vote for it. He is paying the price for this, of course. V-Trans struggled to keep up during Monday night's early season snowstorm. Yes, indeed. If Vermonters are incapable of reacting to a minor snowstorm, which it wasn't even really a storm at all, I have questions to ask with regards to this. As a Vermonter, the military's recruiting surge, yes, indeed, the U.S. military is now paid up, so to speak. All of the branches of the military have proper recruitment. This is something that we have not seen in a while, actually. Under the Biden administration, who the hell is going to sign up for the military? That would be a wonderful idea. Go and get killed in a desert somewhere, or be useless and sitting on an army base. RNC gets day at Supreme Court to challenge late arriving mail ballots. It's an interesting story. And then we have others as well. New York and New Jersey lose hundreds of billions in resident income as Americans flee to low-tax states. It's funny. The left told me this wouldn't actually happen. It's actually happening. Interesting. It's almost like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Brett Herbert, you still trying to figure out why Trump hired children to work in his spa sticks? That never happened. Sorry, Bert, but I know that you are a petulant attention whore, but that never actually was the case. What happened is that Trump hired young females in the Mar-a-Lago. We already know this. He does like them young. College-age girl is not the same as a 12-year-old now, is it? Just saying. So yeah, we're going to get to some news, the sponsors, and we're going to have some bants as well, because it's fun. It's just amusing to me. Lots and lots of tea. Yeah, I spoke earlier in my New Tech exclusive the other day. I brewed some Yunnan Jig, right? And I used the coffee machine for it because it's just, more simple. And came out perfectly fine, but then my mom dumped it because she thought it was the decaf coffee that she had brewed that morning. And so, unfortunately, I was deprived of tea. I have some more now, but I was deprived of it for the moment. Cygnus, the age was 16 of the employee at Mar-a-Lago. That was the child he is referring. Yes, and when Donald Trump got wind of the fact that Epstein and Maxwell were trying to perv on these employees, he kicked them out of his properties. He is unimpeachable in this particular procession. Untold misery. Why don't you ramp up your production value, Sticks? I mean, literally, what's holding you back? I think that the production is perfectly fine. I like doing what I do. I like making videos the old school way. He's on a mission from God. I get the reference, by the way. So yeah, let's talk about Schumer first. The Democratic Party right now is in a bit of a civil war. Chuck Schumer is not being warmly recepted by certain elements of the party. This is the broad umbrella approach, and this is the death of the Democratic Party, at least for the current electoral cycle. What they've done is they created a broad tent, and they included the far left. Now, originally, it was basically, we'll promise them things, we'll give them a few crumbs, when we get elected, and they should be fine with that. But it's not the same way anymore. Now the far left wants far, far more. And they will ridicule the party for literally any imposition whatsoever. So if the party is not willing to give them free everything, free gibbs, basically, then the party is wrong. So they've decided to target Chuck Schumer. And there's nothing wrong with this. If anything, I welcome it. I find it hysterical. Chuck Schumer has been in Congress far too long and should, he should go on his merry way and do something else. But he's not going to leave. He's going to be a thorn in the side of the far left, much as the left is a thorn in the side of the Democratic Party proper. And this will continue for probably years. It's going to be an intergenerational sort of thing, because Chuck Schumer does not want to leave. He wants to find his testicles and be a big boy and stuff like that. The left is not entirely reciprocative towards him in this endeavor. If anything, they're just trying to cockblock him over and over again. And so Chuck Schumer, he's basically doomed. If he doesn't leave, he deals with a Congress that is uncooperative. If he does leave, then, of course, he's absconded. He's off the battlefield. I have a feeling that Chuck Schumer is not going to have a good time over the next few months. The Democrats are basically wrangling around to attack one another to the exclusion of doing anything else meaningful. No meaningful work for the American people, no meaningful attacks on the GOP. They're just attacking one another at the moment. It's almost a glory to see. They're acting like Republicans usually act. And Chuck Schumer is at least intelligent enough to know that this is a bad idea and has tried to call him off, but it doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything. It's pretty funny, actually. Poor Schumer. What a sad sack. Just saying, I mean, he was Nancy Pelosi's lapdog for an extended period of time, and I believe I have a call coming in. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I have to take this. Just a sec. All right, now we're back with the news. Yes, indeed. We've got to read out our sponsors. And by the way, people have mentioned Anton, which means that we must eat Bovrite. I'm not complaining, though. I love this shit. I wish I had been introduced to this years and years ago. Too salty, he will say. And I will say, no, it's not too salty. It's actually delicious. You mix the Bovrite with the Chinese 5 spices, and it really kicks it up a notch, too. You can use that for basically anything. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get to our sponsors right away, actually. First and foremost, we have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. You should take at least one every single day. It'll give you more energy. It certainly does to me. That's what I'm talking about. Wash it down with some tea. Oh, my. Excellent. Yeah, Cultivated Mind. Mushroom pills of various designs. They have different blends of mushrooms and extracts in them. And then there's also Doggy Dose, which I call Doggo Dose because it's more cute. And you can give that to your doggo. It will make their hair more pure and more clean. Make them all shiny and stuff like that. Also seems to boost energy. but also at the same time, it relaxes them so that they don't get all goofy or something like that. It works. Yeah, I've been using that for some time. I still need to do the doggy dose video at some point as well. Then we have BiltongUSA.com. Anton, he's got some imports. He's got various meats: Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi, venison, bison, pretty much everything under the sun. So if you want meat, you should definitely talk to Anton. Also pre-prepared foods, which are actually delicious as well. I've cooked a couple of those off as well myself. And then, of course, Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts are available. And finally, we've got jamandbean.com. That is Jamn Bean. .com, where you can get Clanker coffee. There's other coffees available, but when you've got Clanker blend, you don't really need anything else. Also, various teas available, including Yudon Jig, which my mother dumped out the other day. It was a really, really sad situation. Copium Poppies banned on Twitter again, this time for literally advocating against terrorism and even tagged by the FBI and DHS in a post to put a leftoid on their radar, and we catch a ban for harassment. That fucking sucks. Not a huge surprise either. David Ford, have you ever heard of Kratom Hydro Oxymetrangenine tabs? They give a strong euphoric feeling. They were just banned in Florida. Super addictive though. Never heard of it, never used it. My my Psychonaut days are over. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Pollsters Rich Barris, Robert Barnes, and Mark Mitchell have been doom posting on X regarding the Republicans' chances in the midterms. What are your thoughts? They are making mistakes. That is quite obvious at this point. That being said, the Democrats are making so many mistakes too that it's basically going to be a mistake fest. Which party is capable of fucking itself harder in the ass? We shall see. It's almost like a weird competition between the two parties to see who can be more deluded. It would be so easy for either party, really, to capitalize on the current situation and go forth from there. But neither of them are taking the initiative to do so. So, yeah. Last Beacon, can you please stop spamming Jammin' Bean over and over again? Don't make me mute you. There's a good gentleman. I want to watch Zulu later. Great movie, by the way. Zulu, 1964, I believe it was. It's not entirely canonical, but it's a very, very great movie. Yeah, this is something that touches me personally. I have a little bit of a grudge now. I have a bitch to air out here. When VTrans says that it was taken unaware by the latest snowstorm, and so there were service disruptions, can I please say as a Vermonter, number one, you had several days of, information that this storm was going to be a thing. It is a minor storm. It's a couple of inches of fluff. That's basically all it is. Are you telling me that Vermont Transit is incapable of compensating for 2 inches of fucking snow? Dude, we get blizzards sometimes that drop a foot, maybe even 2 feet of snow in a few hours period. You can't even deal with a dusting? That's what it was. It was literally just a dusting. I was flabbergasted the other day. And this is my inner Vermonter coming out. I'm from northern New England, so we get a lot of snow and stuff like that. The Vermont Transit Authority was not capable of clearing that very limited amount of snow. Dude, people just driving over the road are going to clear it themselves simply with their wheels. You must be insane. And so I've come to the conclusion that the people that are running the Vermont transit system probably are not from Vermont. They're probably snowbirds from Florida or something like that. There's no other methodology by which you could screw this up. It's like not even 2 inches. It's like 1.5 inches or something like that. And it's fluffy stuff. You can clear that off the roads in 10 minutes. It shouldn't be difficult. But somehow they found a way to fuck it up, and now they're going to beg for more money probably or something like that. It really pisses me off though, as a Vermonter. We're used to a large amount of snow. When I went down to Florida for winter vacation years and years ago, I had to traverse, before I got to the airport, because the buses weren't running for some reason, I had to traverse through snowdrifts that were, taller than me. They were like 12 feet fucking tall. The sidewalk had not been cleared. And so I just trudged along through it, and I went to the airport, I got on my plane, and then I went to Florida, actually, for a few weeks. And it was fun, let me tell you. But, you gotta be kidding me. Vermonters can't clear snow? What have we been reduced to? It makes no sense. Copium poppies. Any chance you could draw attention to that next time you're on Twitter? Tagged you from our management's account at Snake Coilant. The user even went on one of our followers' uninvolved posts to spread lies and harass them. We responded to post with screenshots proving the user is a liar. We tagged you and other bigger accounts. Get that to me in DM. Although I would note that Twitter has changed their DM system. Now it automatically goes to chat, and you have to set that up. And it's just a little bit weird, but, Yeah, Moskvich. Floridians see 2 inches of snow. Is this Tatooine? Yeah, I remember that one video where like an inch of snow fell in Atlanta, and nobody was on the roads. Everyone was basically staying at home. They didn't know what the fuck to do, and they had the Walking Dead theme actually over it. It was pretty funny. Yeah, if Vermonters are incapable of clearing snow, what has the world come to? I'll go out there barefoot and start shoveling snow. I do not care. I'm assuming, therefore, that the people that are in charge are not actually from Vermont. That's the only assumption that I can make. Copium, can't DM you from management account. Well, my DMs are open. You might be able to. Oh, no. Kina, hello, Sticks. Hello to you, Kina, as well. Oh, yeah, we have military recruiting. We've got to talk about that. The military is now paid up in terms of manpower. I wonder why people didn't want to sign up for the U.S. military, regardless of branch, under the Joe Biden administration. Was it because they were afraid of being sent off to some foreign war, or was it because they were afraid that the commander-in-chief was goddamn retarded? I think that both of these play a role. Now that they know that the commander-in-chief is at the very least sane and relatively reluctant to send people into foreign combat theaters, more people are signing up. It's almost like people have faith in the current administration. It's very, very simple. It's easily, explained. The Biden administration did not know what it was doing. Openly abused soldiers, openly abused our allies in, for example, Hungary, Poland, other countries, calling them xenophobic and stuff like that because they have their own agendas, and then dumped on the soldiers and said, hey, you're going to have to deal with this person who has to dilate their fake vagina on a regular basis. You're going to have to deal with that. Otherwise, you're homophobic or something like that. It was nonsense. It was always nonsense under the Biden administration. Under the Trump administration, you have sane leadership. It's not perfect. And there are still problems to be solved. No-bid contracts, etc., etc. There are plenty of problems with the U.S. military. But it is better. It is actually being run properly. And so more people are signing up. Yeah, I probably won't be sent to a foreign war. So I can get this college degree for free, and all I have to do is do, grunt training. This sounds like an even trade. By the way, the U.S. militia is so massive and so well armed Good luck to any country that's trying to fuck with us. It will not go over well for you. Copium, already tried no mailbox button on your page. I've got my DMs open. It should be available for anyone. They've changed on Twitter. They have changed for the chat system, though. So you may have to click through that and create a 4, number passcode or something. Green Text Pro, Thursday already? No, it can't be. Yes, it's almost Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday, Best day of the week. When I'm done with my work on Friday, I can simply sit down and play some Napoleon Total War or something like that. Tonight I'm gonna write a few entries in Morbid Stories. Then I'm just going to play Napoleon Total War. Honestly. I work hard enough as it is. I make videos every day. I make live streams every weekday. I'm writing. I'm doing all sorts of other stuff. Come on. I'm allowed to have a couple of hours off. Just saying. Copium Poppies. We're on Facebook, Instagram, etc. FB, the Guardian Angels in New York City are militia. Technically speaking, anyone who is of voting age, capable of bearing arms, is a member of the militia. Yeah, our militia is over 100 million people, so other countries, you might want to stand down. I mean, you can nuke the continent, but there will still be millions of people against you, and you inherit a bunch of radioactive craters. Sounds like a good trade now, doesn't it? Fuck with the U.S. militia. See what happens. You're going to be dealing with so many people. There's a reason why the Japanese decided not to invade the mainland United States. It was suggested briefly, and then they said, no, there'll be a rifle behind every blade of grass. It's undoable. There's no possibility of us establishing a beachhead, let alone pursuing further into the actual continent. And they were right to make that decision. The U.S. militia is the biggest fighting force in the history of mankind. It would be a bad idea to try to tangle with it, especially since the U.S. military will have decimated you before you even get to the land, so it's probably not going to work, just saying. Nooner Eclipse, Sticks, thoughts on Trump insulting American workers at Laura Ingraham. What the fuck is the matter with him? Time to give him a slap on the backside of his head. Yes, I saw the thing with regards to work visas, and I am not happy about it. I can understand the bravado, I can understand the messaging, but it still came off wrong. Donald Trump is going to make mistakes, though. There is no alternative. It is automatic. He will make mistakes, believe it or not. RNC gets day at Supreme Court to challenge late arriving mail ballots. RNC lawsuit challenges Mississippi law allowing ballots postmarked by Election Day to count if received within 5 days. I happen to side with the GOP on this. There's no reason why mail-in ballots should even really be a thing, for the most part. Person's all crippled up, or they're overseas, serving or something like that. They're a diplomat, they're a soldier. Okay, well then mail-in ballots make sense for that. In any other circumstance, there's no reason for them to exist at all. It means absolutely nothing. Show up on voting day and fucking vote. I do believe in making Election Day a national holiday. This is one thing that I will concede to the liberals. It makes sense to make it a national holiday because then you take everything else off of the table. Well, you automatically have the day off. Well, then you can go and vote in person. You don't need to vote early. It's not necessary for you to do so. Unless, again, you're bedridden, you're a diplomat, or you're a soldier. Those are really the only situations in which a mail-in ballot should be used at all. And I find this very funny, actually, because these people say, no, we need more mail-in ballots. Why? So that you can skew the vote? Because that's the only reason that I can think of that you would want to do that. Aurora Sonic Reactor. Friday is my Monday. I've been working towards becoming a professional web and software developer. Late bloomer at almost 59. Better late than never. Hobby? Electron, music, sound designer, and composer. Sounds cool. So yeah, I don't understand why any reasonable person would be trying to extend mail-in ballots. They become such a problem, number one, and number two, don't solve any problem. What's the point? It means absolutely nothing. If you're overseas, soldier, diplomat, something like that, I can understand why you would need a mail-in ballot. That makes sense because you can't physically be there to cast your ballot in person. For everyone else, you can show up in person. And in some cases, you can also early vote and stuff like that. It makes absolutely no sense to extend it further than that. Tarred and feathered. Segregate the polls so people uncomfortable around whites don't have to stand in line next to them. Yeah, some people would probably like that. That's the sad fact. Joseph Apper. Sticks, ever try your hand with a soldering iron? I repair tube amplifiers, and I love reading schematics, processing signal, etc. It sounds like something that I would have a great deal of fun with, but no, I don't have any particular skill in that. Copium Poppies. Figured it out. Check your DMs from Snake Colliant. Alright, I'll check those after the live stream. That's what I'm talking about. New York and New Jersey lose hundreds of billions in resident income as Americans flee to low-tax states. Florida and Texas emerge, obviously, as the biggest winners in a decade-long migration shift that reshapes American economy. Now, it's funny. I seem to recall, not only a week or two ago, talking about an article that was talking about the flight of billionaires and things like that. Don't worry, they won't leave New York. No, it's perfectly fine. And the idea was, no, the working class is going to flee New York. Yeah, how wonderful. Yeah, people are being priced out of New York City because of socialism. The billionaires are capable of sheltering themselves because they're fucking billionaires. This was obviously, going to be the case. It wasn't a big problem at first, but now we find that actually a lot of the rich people are leaving New York City. Yeah, they're doing exactly what the left claimed that they would not do, which is saying fuck it, and they're moving to states that are actually amenable towards civilization. And so New York City is going to be hemorrhaging goddamn money. They're probably going to try to apply back taxes and stuff like that to try to make it up for at least a year or two. But in the end, I think that they'll be unsuccessful. New York City is now run by a communist. He is not a socialist. There's no such thing. It is either communism or it is something else. He is a communist. Mamdani is a commie. And so he is going to run the city into the ground. He's going to try to steal money from as many people as possible to pay for pet projects that in some cases the state government is not amenable towards. Even Kathy Hochul, who is herself on the far left, even she won't greenlight the free transit bus fares and stuff like that. Even she's not willing to do that. Well, then where are you going to get the money? You're going to have to take it from New Yorkers, people in New York City. The problem is that a lot of them are leaving. Where are you going to get the money, Mamdani? This is exactly what was predicted by myself and by others over time. He either follows through with his plans and he fails and he gets fucked. Or he doesn't follow through with his plans and, you can't fail, but people will blame you anyway, and then you get fucked. This is Mamdani's future. He is doomed. Copium, Snake Coil Entertainment. Twitter has a character limit on usernames. Tarred and feathered. Fair is fair. Introduce the white tax already. Yeah, you might as well at this point. Now you've got white skin. You have to pay more money. Wouldn't even surprise me if something like that was suggested. Lunar eclipse. Sticks, do you see signs of dementia within Trump, also him dozing off at times? If Trump becomes cognitively worse, would you support removing him from office? Well, the fact that he gets tired once in a while, that's pretty normal. That's not evidence of any, mental defect. Sometimes when you're listening to people spout off legalese for several hours, yeah, you might just take a nap. I know that I would. And I'm only 37. Basil, lib refugees will just ruin the areas they migrate to. Yeah, I know. It happens all the time. Let's talk about Epstein, shall we? Because this is a big issue. This is something that needs to be talked about. Donald Trump is mentioned in emails that were sent by Jeffrey Epstein. If you read the legacy media, it's immediate evidence that he fucked minors. When you actually look through the story, though, you'll find Donald Trump castigated Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, kicked him out of his properties, and told them basically to go fuck themselves just around the time that Epstein was trying to recruit young girls, and we'll get into that, from Mar-a-Lago properties. Now, by young girls, I mean like college-age girls. These were not, 15-year-olds or anything like that. Trump was largely employing adults, and Epstein and Maxwell were trying to nick them off and bring them over to Rape Island to do service, so to speak. And Trump got pissed at this, and he told them to fuck themselves. And he cut off all ties of communication, actually. And then he gave meaningful testimony to the FBI on the subject, and was considered to be a great witness. He's like, yeah, Epstein is into some weird shit. You might want to look into him. And they paid him no heed, apparently, because it took years for them to do anything about it. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is not interested in children. Does he like young college girls? Yeah, who doesn't? Exactly. Who gives a shit? Oh my god. He likes 22-year-olds with perky tits? What a terrible sin. Yeah, he's robbing the cradle and stuff like that. But there's no indication that he ever did anything with kids. In fact, there's no indication that small children were ever involved in Epstein Island at all. It seems like there were some people that were dubiously aged. Epstein arranged that himself. Trump didn't want any part in it. He said fuck you, basically, and stuck with the college girls. Oh my god. You fucked a 22-year-old? Basically, that makes you a pedophile. No, it doesn't. No, not even close. Epstein was into them a little bit younger than Trump appears to have been. But Trump did like them young. This is known. We know that he's gone with college-age girls and given them, sports cars and stuff like that in exchange for taking his apparently very hairy Yeti-like mushroom penis. But what's wrong with that? That's two adults having sex. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Who cares? Nobody does. People are claiming that they care, but in reality land, it's like, okay, two adults had sex. Wow, what a terrible time. There was a lot of abuse there. The Siren. Just saw an edit of the new movie with Marilyn Manson acting, where I wrote the lead girl's songs and cinematic score. Releases 2026. I'll keep you posted. Yes, please do. Copium. If Trump wants to make the whole Epstein thing go away, ending income tax and the IRS would go a long way towards getting the people off his back. I believe in both of those. I would agree with you. I would say simply releasing the Epstein files unredacted would probably go a long way too. I do not believe that Donald Trump is a pervert. He likes young women. Okay, who doesn't? But that doesn't mean that they're illegally young. It doesn't mean that these are 12-year-olds or something like that. He needs to get out ahead of it and say, look, I was the one that gave testimony against Epstein. I kicked him off of my properties. I didn't do anything wrong. Plenty of other people probably did do something wrong, but it wasn't me. I kicked him out of my properties. And he should be venting this on a regular basis. He should also unredact the entire Epstein files, which do not, in my opinion, implicate him in any way. It may implicate people associated with him. That would be a little bit of a problem, but, throw them under the bus. Just this once. Throw them under the bus and tell people what exactly happened. Tell people when it happened, how it happened, and what was going on. Because Epstein did not kill himself. Ghislaine Maxwell, meanwhile, is apparently getting concierge treatment in her low-security facility. That's probably to keep her from talking. And it's become a problem for the Trump administration. Not because Donald Trump is himself culpable, but because people can claim that he's culpable. And they have been doing it this entire time. Release the full files. It's as simple as. It wouldn't take much effort and take a couple of afternoons more than anything. Copium. If Trump wants to make the whole Epstein thing go away, ending income tax... Oh, I already read that one. Although I do agree with you, honestly. Fenrir Howells. We don't know what happened with JFK. If you look at the Secret Service stand down, it's fairly clear what happened. He was allowed to be killed. Yeah, look at JFK Secret Service stand down at some point. It's incredible. The Secret Service agents were supposed to be riding the fins behind the vehicle in which JFK was. Had they been there, it would have been impossible from the back, at least, to actually have targeted him. It would have been physically impossible. But they were waved off by the governor at the time of Texas, who basically told him to stand down, and they didn't know what the hell was happening. One officer's like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on. He absolutely got assassinated by the government. I have a feeling it has to do with the Cuban Missile Crisis. My theory is that JFK took us very, very close to a nuclear exchange, and he wasn't in on the joke, so to speak. The US and the Soviets were basically just posturing in order to do more missile testing and stuff like that, to increase technology. And so there was never any literal risk of war. JFK did not understand this. He believed that war was actually likely, and so you have the Bay of Pigs and things like that. And so they decided to glass him. They decided to take him out. I do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was a lone gunman. I do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. Copium Poppies. If he's not a pervert, he can stop the lying and gaslighting, making arrests, and simultaneously release the files. Until then, he's a pedo or protecting pedos, and protecting them makes him complicit. Yeah, I would love for Donald Trump to release the full unredacted Epstein articles. I believe that would be the right thing to do. The Siren. On Epstein, Biden DOJ had nothing on Trump and destroyed all incriminating evidence. True, by the way. On Dems and important biz icons, and fabricated fake files on Trump like they did the Steele dossier. Can't release now. Everything should be released verbatim. Just go ahead and do it. Tear the bandage off the wound. It makes sense, when you think about it. Oh, yeah. This is a funny story. This will probably cause you to chuckle a little bit. Venezuela announces massive mobilization of military forces as America's largest warship sails into region. Hey, yeah, that's going to go over real well. The Venezuelan military and their fucking Bolivarian militia system, they have decided to mobilize. in order to defend against the United States. Even though the USA has openly proclaimed we're not really interested in any land targets or anything like that, it's basically just cartel ships. Fucking shut the fuck up and calm down. I support striking the ships, actually, because it stops those drugs from coming into the United States. Now, I think that we should just end the drug war. Hell, everyone should grow a little bit of weed, maybe get a little bit of coke, have a little bit of a good time. But it doesn't need to be coming from a communist country. We can do it ourselves. We can grow our own cocaine. We can certainly grow our own weed. It's not that difficult. It's called weed for a reason, because it is a fucking weed. Meanwhile, Venezuela is pretending to go on a war posturing, despite the fact that there's literally nothing that they can do. You do not have the naval or air assets to stop us from striking these ships. So they're going to continue to be struck. There's nothing that you can do about it. As far as your on-land defenses, oh yes, how wonderful and formidable. You see, the United States is not planning to actually invade your country. Which, by the way, is a good thing. Donald Trump is showing restraint, as he has, with regards to foreign policy the entire time. Your military would be steamrolled in a couple of days, very easily, and could never stand against the might of the U.S. military. In any way, shape, or form. It would be impossible. Thankfully for you, we're not actually planning to invade you, we're just bullseyeing some boats. So, you might want to leave us alone and let us hit the boats. Copium, he won't do it though. He's already made it apparent he's on the list or protecting those on it. If he wants to save his legacy, abolishing income tax is how to do it. I agree with you on that one. The income tax should absolutely be bullseyed out of existence. It was never legal to begin with. A lot of people don't know that. There was a huge dust-up over the income tax actually back in the day, and not enough states actually ratified it. Somehow, it became the law of the land anyway. I believe in removing it. I would modify it myself. I would say, if someone's making Doge, like they're making millions of dollars a year, okay, then we can apply a very, very limited income tax. But if somebody is just a normal citizen, they make 60, 70K a year, they're not rich. They're not making bank. Why the fuck should they pay an income tax? Makes absolutely no sense. Occult priestess is here with some moons and what looks like an eggplant, I suppose. Yeah, weed's not a big problem, by the way. It's funny, there are still people that believe that weed is like the devil's lettuce or something like that. And it's more like, hey, yeah, it'll get you high. Absolutely. Does it impair you considerably? No, not really. It's fucking marijuana. Grow up. Get over it. Yeah, so Venezuela is mobilizing. Yeah, they're worried about a U.S. incursion that will never happen. I don't even know what they're doing at the moment. The U.S. is not inclined to invade your country. Unless you happen to go over into Essequibo and try to invade Guyana, there's probably not going to be a problem. It would be nice to be able to have normal trade relations and things like that. It would be nice. Unfortunately, that is not actually happening. Oh yes, by the way, the penny is being phased out. The last penny will be minted today in Philadelphia. The American penny will pass away later today after a prolonged illness. It was 238 years old. The last penny will be minted Wednesday afternoon at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, overseen by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Treasurer Brandon Beach. President Donald Trump announced via social media in February that he instructed the mint to stop making the once popular coin, citing the cost of production. So when it costs 4 cents to mint 1 cent, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Cents. Pun intended, by the way. Pennies are useless. You can't use them for anything anymore. You can barely use a nickel. Until you get to the level of the dime or the quarter, you're dealing with literally buttfuck nothing. This should have been addressed with regards to inflation, but it never was. And so that became a basic bitch problem. Yeah, the penny is worthless. I used to get penny candy when I was a kid. When I was at Gillingham's in Woodstock, the candy by weight, you'd plop down 10 cents in pennies and you get a few pieces of candy. You can't do that anymore. 10 cents means absolutely nothing at this point. We need to reformulate the currency, in my opinion. But that is exactly what has happened, and it's rather sad, actually. So the penny is now part of a bygone era. I suggest that you hoard pennies, especially the old ones that are actually made with copper, in order to create a sort of hoard, so to speak. I know that I've got one. I've got plenty of pennies in here. Oh, God, there's probably fucking 20 pounds of coins in here. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, I like coins. I'm a pirate. What can I say? So yeah, the penny is gone. It will no longer be produced. Skippy, smoke bovrite. It's healthier than weed. I don't know if you could really smoke it, though. That might be a little bit of a problem. I suppose you probably could. If you dried it and then powdered it, you could probably smoke it. I don't know why you'd want to, though. FB, Bazooka Bubble Game, 1 cent each. I remember Bazooka Bubble Gum from when I was a kid back in the 90s. And the little, comics that they would have with them and how funny they were. I like those. Copium poppies. Does this mean pennies will be worth money for collectors? Yes, it does. Especially old wheat ear pennies. Wheat. You gotta say it that way. I've got hundreds of them, actually. I've got me pirate treasure. I've also got this. What the hell? There's a random piece of bread in there. I don't even know where that came from. It wasn't me that put it in there. Okay. Yeah, I like foreign coins and, old coins from the United States as well. Want to get a bunch more of them. They're pretty fun. Some of them are silver and stuff like that. A lot of them are Mexican. Mexican coins enter the confluence fairly easily. They resemble coins from the United States anyway, same with Canadian coins, and so they sort of intermix. Snakes bleed red. Most dishonest hobby is coin collecting. I like to collect coins. They're fun. It's like pirate treasure. Sorry, I like it a lot. Tard with a hard R. I go to casino to cash in my change for free, then leave without gambling. Win every time. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I've got all sorts of random coins. They're from all around the world. There's like 100 countries in this little bin. Mexico, Australia. I think I've got some North Korean currency, actually, as well. That's in bill form. That's in the safe. I have fun with it. So, yeah, the latest Epstein emails about Trump are literally nothing. I wanted to talk about this at brief. Donald Trump, according to the emails that have been released, basically said Epstein's a creep. I'm kicking him and Ghislaine Maxwell off my properties because they're trying to recruit people that are, on the young side. They're college age, so they're not kids or anything like that. But they are trying to recruit them. And I don't want them to do that anymore. Those are my employees. Fuck yourselves. And so he effectively decided to tell them, go away. Get away from me. I'm not interested anymore. And of course, he was embroiled in the sex scandal at the time. Donald Trump said, look, let's put two and two together. He's being prosecuted for, the sex scandal stuff, for going with people that are underage, and then he's perving on all of my young employees. Let's put two and two together and figure out exactly what's happening here. And then he banned him from the properties. It is not a surprise. It actually would be a surprise if he hadn't done so. And Ghislaine Maxwell was similarly banned at the same time. Honestly, I think that Donald Trump is unimpeachable with regards to this particular advent. The problem is that the Trump administration is not willing to make it more of an issue. What you need to do is push it to the fore and say, look, yeah, Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein until he realized that he was a pervert. Then he immediately disowned him, kicked him out of his properties. He had problems with him, trying to steal employees, actually, young females mainly. And so he basically castigated him. Well, there you go. That's a complete win right there. I don't know why the Trump administration is not doing this, by the way. Honestly, I have no clue. Copium, we should make cigarettes, top ramen, and postage stamps, the new currency, prison style. Yeah, disowning Jeffrey Epstein is sort of a no-brainer when you think about it. Oh, yeah. Georgia judge declares city ordinance banning guns in unlocked cars as unenforceable. Here is a very, very strange news story. So a judge in Georgia has decided you're not allowed to prosecute people for having guns in their car unlocked. That's not acceptable. What the city has done is say, well, that's fine, but we're going to ignore you. We're just going to enforce it anyway. Even though it's unenforceable under law, under the judiciary, we're just going to enforce it anyway. So if a person leaves a gun in their car, and the car happens to be unlocked, either by will or by chance, they can still be prosecuted. Now, the general idea is that the prior decision that's been made by the court there will stand, and so people will have a defense. That's the good part. That being said, they're still going to harass people, and it can take tens of thousands of dollars, by the way, to fight a legal battle. I hope that people realize this. It's not a cheap thing to do. You're going to need a great deal of money from one source or another in order to even defend yourself, even when it's self-evident that you are innocent under the law. This happens all the time. Happened to me. It'll possibly happen to you. I hope it doesn't. Crossover maniac. What's the likelihood that Trump's sitting on the files until the 2026 midterms as an October surprise? Could be. That's possible. I would just release them right now, though. I wouldn't wait till the next October. Tasmanaut, you should watch Rich Barrett's latest streams to understand how big a deal this is. MAGA is hemorrhaging support worse than you think. Yes, well, so are the Democrats. See, here's the problem. All of these people are hemorrhaging support. None of them seem to be able to reason at all. Some of these people are so retarded, it's almost impossible to figure out what they're doing at any given time, actually. Matt, what are you going to support if not MAGA? Socialism. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, actually. You can get a flawed populism, or you can get a desperately flawed, well, not socialism, but communism. Those are basically your choices. So, yeah, as far as the city ordinance, the judge has declared it unenforceable, but the city is still going to prosecute people anyway. I believe that this is a breach of the separation of powers, but of course, the city does not care. So in Atlanta, you're not allowed to have a gun in an unlocked car. Well, you are, but you're kind of not, effectively. It's not wise to have one in your unlocked car anyway, but, you know, it should be legal. It's still your property. Meisner Flux. How many hundreds of victims were saved by being trafficked at the border? A far worse place than Rape Island. At least Epstein isn't hurting anyone now. In my opinion, Trump admin has been a net positive. Yeah, I agree on the last part. Yeah, Epstein and Maxwell have been effectively frozen out. So, that's the good news. I really want to get one of those things from the Swiss colony. DeLuca Respector. Huey, I was talking to Styx lives with parents 666. Yes, I do. And I have great fun doing so. You save money, you have your own independence, you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Who cares? I'm not interested in moving out and giving Jews a bunch of more money for no reason. It's much better to give your parents a lesser sum. I'm not interested in being independent and things like that. It means nothing to me. Caillou Cat Media. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a clapping, as of ass cheeks gently chapping, clapping at my chamber door. "'Tis a visitor," I muttered, "dummy thick and nothing more." I get the Nevermore reference, by the way. Yeah. Why would you want to move out? You know, if you can spend half as much money and save the rest of it, what the fuck is the point? I don't understand people that are obsessed with the concept that you have to live on your own. No, you don't. Yeah, you can live in your own place with your family and stuff like that. It's perfectly fine. I don't give a fucking shit. Skippy, I subvert my host nation, and when the host gets angry, I am the victim. Who am I? An immigrant of certain background. Have to be careful how I answer that on a YouTube stream. Yeah, why the fuck would I want to pay $2,000 a month for rent to have my own place? Wow, what an improvement. When I can just pay my parents' money, it stays in the family, and I can use the kitchen, I use the bathroom, I have my own room, I have my own space, I have my own office. What more could I possibly want? I have my own garden. Why the hell would I want to move out? It makes no sense. What, to pay more money to prove to people that I'm capable of paying it? Yeah, you can go kill yourselves. I don't give a shit. Yes, Manny Gonzalez. Did you talk about Datura already? Yes, I reamed that article actually earlier. Datura is potentially deadly. It's a deliriant. You shouldn't take it. I've used it before. Trust me, don't bother using it. It's retarded. But there are other much more powerful things in the herbal world. For example, henbane. Henbane is the witching ointment of medieval era, and wolfsbane as well. You can literally sniff the flowers and get high from it. Datura is strong. It is a deliriant, and I do not suggest that you use it. But it is not as deadly. It's not the deadliest vegetable in your garden. That's retarded. No, if you've got wolfsbane or henbane in there, those are much more potent. And I tried to point this out earlier, and I was like, well, Datura is strong, admittedly. I've used it before. It's a deliriant. It will make things taste strange for some reason, but it's not the most potent drug that you can actually get a hold of. And for some reason, some people were saying that it was, and I was incredulous over this. Matt, Vermont is literally whiter than London. Yes, it is. Yeah, we're like 93% white people, I think, in Vermont. One of our neighbors over there, they're actually Hispanic, and they have like a sports car and a motorcycle and everything. It's pretty funny, actually. I have a feeling that somebody made it in life. Good for you. BW, too bad Hassan isn't staying in China. Yeah, if Hassan Piker just stayed in China, many people would be happy about that, you know. Oscar Gonzalez, do they play loud music? No, they're just a normal group of people. They go like 3 kids and stuff like that. You know. Ha ha. Arr, I got me pirate booty, matey. G-ski. Last summer, poison hemlock was all over Vermont. I never saw any of it. I saw it when I was in the Netherlands. It's all over the place there. Archaeologists reveal unusual ritual objects from ancient biblical cult at Armageddon site. This is in Megiddo, by the way. You should not be excavating Megiddo. That's probably a bad idea. Let me explain, as an occultist. I do not believe in the Judeo-Christian mythology of the end times or anything like that. I do not believe in it. But I do believe that humans follow those behaviors, follow those beliefs, and act accordingly. It is a bad idea to excavate Megiddo. You're excavating a tell that effectively is tied in with the end times for Judeo-Christians. Can you understand why this would be a bad idea? Because I certainly can. It has nothing to do with the spiritual importance or anything like that. There is no, there's no God looking down that's, going to throw lightning bolts at you or something like that. Satan is not going to pop up the ground from a crater or something like that. But humans will react accordingly. And so I believe that they should suspend their operations at Tel Megiddo. That is a terrible idea because you're going to rile these people up. They're going to think that the end times are coming or something like that. They're going to think that the end has come, and they're going to go crazy. Basil, have you heard of Flightform Syracuse on YouTube? No, I haven't actually. Linux Debian 104. Wolves are cool. Exactly. Kanye understands this. Kaju Cat Media. Well, I nodded, nearly napping. Suddenly, there came a tapping. As of ass cheeks gently chapping, clapping at my chamber door. 'Tis a visitor, I muttered. Dummy thick, and nothing more. I like that. Keep in mind, there will come a day when you die, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Isn't that wonderful? Someday, all of us, our temporal bodies, will die. There is nothing that we can do about it. Nor should we. It doesn't matter. You just persist anyway. I do not believe in death, not in the way that the normal person conceives it. In the meantime, I'm gonna have some fucking fun. Ronnie's gotta run! Oh my god! Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy shit in the world. You can't escape it. It's impossible to do so. You will eventually die. You're going to have to feel your physical body decaying under some circumstance or another. It's impossible to avoid this. All you have to do is remember that that physical body is meaningless. It's nothing more than a vehicle. It's what you're using to interact with the world around you. Ask yourself, isn't there something beyond that? I mean, if there's not, then you just blank out. So, there's nothing that you can do to prevent that either. But if you believe that there's something beyond, if you understand that there's an existence that's beyond that body, the body means relatively less. It's fun. It can interact with the world around it. It can drink and cavort and have sex and do all of these other fun things. But in the end, it means absolutely nothing. It is literally nothing than a vessel. Means nothing. It's like, when my body dies, I'm going to be chuckling. I'm going to be laughing because it doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, I like my body. I like the way that I look. I think that I look quite wonderful. But, the next one might look even better, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? I believe that my mouse has decided to stop working. That is rather sad. There we go. Andrew Thompson, do you prefer Bovrite on thin rye bread or sliced cucumber? Thin rye. It is actually rather good. Same with Vegemite, actually. BW, please don't let SCOTUS betray us on VRA districts. Yeah, we'll see exactly what happens with that. Copium poppies. It puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again. Good scene from a great movie. Honestly, I really liked Hannibal Rising, by the way. Most people will not agree with me. Let me make my case. The dude who was acting in Hannibal Rising did a great job of doing the Hannibal Lecter thing. He was emotionless. He was almost a little bit like Keanu Reeves. I think that he did a great job. I would give it a 10 out of 10 performance, actually. I thought that was wonderful. But a lot of people panned it because, Anthony Hopkins is not in the movie. So automatically, reflexively, they said, well, it's a terrible movie. No, it's not. It was pretty good. I want to watch it again soon. I thought that Hannibal Rising was actually a very decent movie. And I thought that the acting involved It was right on par. The whole point is, yeah, Hannibal Lecter is emotionless and fucking crazy. Well, I think that was, creditable to the movie. Concentrated juice. Have you seen Red Dragon? Yes. I didn't like that one as much. I thought that was the weakest. Of course, Silence of the Lambs is the best. There's really no comparison. Hannibal was good. I thought that Hannibal Rising was good, even though it didn't have Anthony Hopkins. I thought that passing the torch in that case actually worked. Red Dragon was reasonably well rated, but I really didn't like it. I thought it was boring. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Red Dragon. Hannibal, Hannibal Rising, Silence of the Lambs. Like, you've got at least one classical movie, Silence of the Lambs. There's basically nobody who would say that that was a bad movie. It was that good. It was well acted, the plot made sense, and so forth. Hannibal was a little bit more artistic, but at the same time, it just sort of worked. Hannibal Rising is sort of the origin story, and so of course you don't have Anthony Hopkins. You have a dude that looks a lot like Keanu Reeves and acts a lot like him, and that was basically the foil. And it made sense. I thought that it was good. Most people apparently thought that it was bad. I don't understand exactly. Red Dragon is like the man out, in my opinion. Okay, there were some redeeming qualities to it, but at the same time, yeah, I wouldn't watch it again. Copium Poppies could have been better to at least bookend Hannibal Rising with scenes with Anthony Hopkins. That would make sense, yeah. Kaiju Cat Media. Ah, distinctly I remember. I was in the steamy November, and each separate cheeky member rotted a sound upon the floor. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Vince Foster was having an affair with Hillary, according to Epstein email to Michael Wolff. Vince Foster fucked Hillary Clinton? All right. Excuse me while I go and vomit. Excuse me while I go and clean myself up. Imagine fucking Hillary Clinton. Yeah, wonderful. Kaiju Cat Media. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I sought to borrow from my books of twerk and sorrow, twerking for a midnight chore. I like your poetry. Liberty Punk. Imagine clapping Hillary's cheeks. You'd feel your soul leave your body. Yeah, you'd be fucked up, for real. Hillary Clinton is a very, very strange individual. She has been for some years. I want to be president. I want to be a member of the Senate. Shut up and fucking sit down. I'm not gonna sit down, you misandrist. It's more like people are telling her, hey, this is not a good idea at the moment. She never understood that, though. That's the whole problem. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I'm going to get some more news stories and other things. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully tomorrow I will be able to bring another news story for you. That's about all. Peace out.